There's this one moment in time that riders will spend their entire lives chasing. What can we do to give them that just a little bit more of an edge? And that's really where it started. Hey, what if we made a wheel specifically for the Champs-Élysées and the Paris Olympics for 200 meters? Like we just have to win 200 meters. And you start to get people really fired up. And then it just kind of snowballs to the point where you're like, okay, we need to start cutting some of these ideas. Because I think the cool thing about the team we work with is just, man, once you get them rolling, the number of ideas that just come out are huge. Going back to your original question, where did it all start from? We finished the last project and we said, great, what's next? And we looked at really where we felt like we could make an important impact for our riders from a performance standpoint, and what was going to be the biggest thing for them for most of their careers, their lifetimes, what they've been chasing.
I think it's really the level of detail that went into this analysis. It's easy to say, you design a wheel set to be aerodynamic, you design it to be lightweight, and we design it to be the perfect blend of the two. But what analysis do you have behind that? What numbers do you have driving that conclusion?
What if we review how we view wheels in terms of being total speed metrics as opposed to an arbitrary weight target and an arbitrary aero target? What would be the result? And the let's do it moment was we did a wind tunnel test with Alpinists and CLX 64s. Basically your gold standard was you had a set of matched CLX 64 front and back. Same depth, same exact design for the front and rear wheel shape. And then you had a set of matched Alpinists as the slowest option. What happens if you mix the CLX 64 in the front with the Alpinist in the back, or the CLX 64 in the back with the Alpinist in the front? And you got over 90% of the performance of the deep wheel set just by switching the front to the deep wheel, while just switching the back to a deep wheel only gave you a little over 60% of the total system benefit. So that made it very clear, hey, we can add as much weight as we want to the back wheel, but adding the same amount of weight to the front wheel is going to give us a much better payoff to the rider.
It really comes down to it is just the most well-rounded wheel. If you literally don't know what the day is going to bring, repeat is your weapon. Whether it's heavy crosswinds, a sprint, climbing, accelerations, punchiness, it covers the spectrum.
This is not for the person who's going to necessarily own a different wheel set for every wind condition. This is the wheel that you just ride every day.
And when you cover this entire spectrum, you're always giving up something. We're not going to be perfect in this one spot or this one spot or this one spot. And because we had repeat, when we thought about the next generation of wheels, it helped us open our mind of what's achievable. Because when you have that product that just is great all around and gives riders a myriad of different performance advantages, then you can really hone in on what's that one thing? If we're going to give one style, one archetype of cycling, that next advantage, what's it going to be? When we think about pro cycling, we think about a sprinter, a GC rider, a climber. Okay, who is the exact rider we're targeting? Why are we targeting them? And then you can start to really break down where is the advantage for that rider? We knew that faster was out there. You look at these aero charts, it's 45K, 50K an hour for an hour. There's this bar chart, you see that. But that's just this massive average, right? And cycling is so dynamic. Races are won and lost in moments of action. It's that acceleration, it's the pop, it's the turn. It's creating the gap, it's holding the gap. It's those small moments of action that win or lose races.
It's not just about designing a wheel set that's fastest in a sprint. It's also about designing a wheel set that'll get you to the sprint. And part of that is definitely mitigating the risk of flats.
We came out with a wheel that's 63 millimeters in the front, 58 in the rear. The hard thing to quantify for riders that is just super meaningful and important is around the larger bead hooks and being able to run slightly lower pressures and not pinch flat. And the thing is, as we're going to larger tires, we're starting to run lower pressures and your ability to bottom out and hit the rim is going up. And so for all the benefits larger tires gives us, the traction, control, comfort, smoothness, we are opening ourselves up to bottoming out more. And so if we stay with conventional hooks, these pretty thin hooks, we will get more pinch flats. And so for us, it's not just, hey, make a fast wheel, but you have to have really smart features that are meaningful to the rider that enable them to get to the finish, right? And that's for us, the larger beat hooks.
Our front shape is really, really good. Let's keep that. Our rear shape is really deep, and we're not gaining that much aero benefit for that depth. Also, working with the pedaling leg mannequin, we know that the super thin shape that we used to have isn't optimized for working with the real rider. So how can we take those two tidbits of information to make repeat better? Our answer was, can we make that rear wheel significantly shallower, but a more modern shape, which enables two things. You maintain your aero at a much lower weight, but you also gain the pinch flap protection. And that, in terms of what the rider gets to experience, means you have a lighter wheel set that's less likely to flat, and you're not giving up any aerodynamics. So for us, that's a huge win.
We're absolutely blessed with the greatest minds in cycling here, and Leo and Philip and Marcel and the rest of the team. But then the tools we have, right? Their software and the packages they use, as well as having a wind tunnel. And we all put a front wheel in a tunnel. We're like, oh wow, look how fast it is. And then we all realized, like, oh man, actually a wheel isn't going without a bike. We should put wheels on bikes. And then we put wheels on bikes, and when we put them in a tunnel, we're like, wow, look how fast they are. Oh, actually a bike doesn't go anywhere without a rider. We should put a rider on. Oh, but people are all over the place. Put a mannequin on it. Oh man, look at all these new learnings we have from like actually just getting closer to what real world is. Oh, maybe the mannequin legs should move. And it opens up the ability to learn, right? And by getting closer and closer to real world riding through all the tools we had, it helps drive the ability to like be unconventional with deeper front, shallow rears, wider rims in the rear, pinch flap protection, because like we can really see the nuance of how these systems interact together. And right, we're still not perfect, but we're a hell of a lot better than just putting one front wheel and a tire in a tunnel, multiplying it by 2 and saying, hey, here's your aerodynamic profile. Like that's far from how all of us ride, unless you ride a unicycle, which would be sick.
What consumers see is the tip of the iceberg with this wheel set. The iceberg is so deep beneath the surface of the water. And we're setting the new precedent for how we design wheel sets in the future based on this.
Should people feel worried about running a carbon spoke? Absolutely not. We have spent so many hours and so many samples and so many test revs, spokes by themselves, wheels by themselves, trying to come at it from these can't work to prove to ourselves that they can.
You're saving a few grams per spoke that may not actually seem meaningful. When you multiply that by 42 spokes in a wheel set, then it's meaningful.